Hello and welcome to the WhyKnox podcast brought to you by Visit Knoxville. My name is Jody Collins of Feral Giant and I'll be your host on this journey. What we'll be doing is interviewing different folks around Knoxville that make Knoxville the great place it is to live. We'll have staples that you see around town all the time, but we'll also have some lesser known folks, people behind the scenes that make this a great city. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you'd like to share the podcast on social media, be sure to tag us at Visit Knoxville and use the hashtag WhyKnox. Without much further ado, here's the episode.
I'm Charlotte Tolley. I am the executive director of Nourish Knoxville.
So Nourish Knoxville, people may know more for the bigger thing you do, which is the Market Square Farmers Market.
Right. That's our claim to fame.
That's your claim to fame. That's what's got your name out there. So where are you originally from?
I'm from West Tennessee, so Lucy, but just north of Memphis.
And what brought you here to Knoxville?
School. I came, I thought I wanted to be an architect when I was 17.
Okay.
And so I came to UT for their architecture school.
Because they have a good program.
And the only 5-year program in the state of Tennessee.
Oh, really?
State school.
I didn't know that.
State school. My dad worked for UT, so he said I could go anywhere I wanted as long as it was a state school.
Nice. Learn something every day here.
Yeah.
So when you moved here, Knoxville was still kind of a little bit in the quiet phase before downtown started getting built up.
Yeah.
And so you just stayed here after college, or did you go back home?
I, took 4.5 years to go through college. And so I left for about 7-8 months. I lived in London, did a work abroad program after college.
Okay.
And then at that point, I guess is the time when you could go anywhere. And I came back to Knoxville. I had worked at Tomato Head previously, and I knew I could get a job back there. And I knew that I had friends here. My family is still, on the other side of the state, but I felt like Knoxville was kind of more my speed.
Okay. Well, what do your parents do for a living?
They're retired now, but my dad did work for the University of Tennessee at Memphis. He was at last count, I guess, assistant vice chancellor of budget and finance. So he worked at the medical school in administrative stuff.
Okay. What did your mom do?
My mom was mostly a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
She worked at a school when I was little, but
nice.
Yeah.
Teacher and revolved in school.
Yeah, very, very education-based.
Very education-based.
Mm-hmm.
So what got you... So before Nourish Knoxville was completely established, it kind of started with the gem of the farmers market.
Right. Yeah. Farmers market started first. The Nourish Knoxville came much later.
So what got you to decide to be involved with that or
it was
start that?
Yeah, it was very accidental. I had come back from London and was working at Tomato Head and then started working at Bliss as their first employee. And, the Scotts that were owners of those businesses,
right.
Along with their both amazing wives, were working on the Market Square District Association, which was basically a downtown development kind of organization. And they both had tons of ideas, along with the rest of that board. They wanted to bring movies back. They wanted to have concert series. They wanted to have a farmer's market and, just bringing people back downtown. And I am really interested in historic preservation. I'm very into preserving rural land plus urban centers. Right. That makes a lot of sense to me. And so I really wanted a walkable, livable downtown in the city where I lived. And so I just volunteered to help them with the farmers market portion. I was really interested in the way that Market Square came to be and that it was the center of the marketplace and in the, basically the Southeast for a while. And so I just volunteered to help, found a book, did some research. I'd gone to markets a lot in London that I really enjoyed and just wanted to sort of help establish that here and started as a volunteer with, a lot of other folks. And just because I was young and didn't have a lot of responsibilities, I worked jobs that I got to leave at the end of the day and not think about. I was looking for a little more meaning and places to put my creative energy, I guess, and just started putting out applications and was able to take on more and more responsibility, more of leadership roles as people, moved on to other things or...
You established yourself. You were the one.
I was the clear forefront of
How many vendors were at the first farmer's market?
I'm trying to figure out exactly how many were at the very first day, but we only had about 10 or 12 vendors at that time.
And now y'all are in your 15th year.
Yeah, we're starting our 15th year, and we'll have probably 150 to 200 accepted vendors for this year.
So it's a little bit of a leap.
Yeah, it's just a little different.
See, they chose correctly in saying that you were the one.
Yes. My family wasn't entirely sure what this career path was, but they're proud of me now. So
in doing that, did you have to kind of establish yourself with local farmers, get to know them a little bit to grow that?
Yeah,
pun unintended.
Right. Yeah, and cultivated our relationship. Yeah, I was just a young kid that wasn't from here. And so, I knew some folks that did know other people, and just, some backyard gardeners, some, of course we had, I think I went to VG's Bakery at Rossini Festival and was like, hey, I'm starting this thing. You might want to come. And they were like, well, maybe. And they tried it out. And without them, we probably wouldn't have a market today. I mean, it's for farmers, but we have to have more than that to really get people down. And there just wasn't much downtown at all. And so people were really grateful. I do remember people coming, we got a lot of press about bringing a farmer's market back to downtown, and people came down and literally just said to me, like, I thought this was supposed to be a big deal. Yeah. And, it took years for people to stop asking why they couldn't find pistachios or things there. When we started in 2004, it was a little bit early for the whole local food movement. Atlas Waters was gaining some traction, but I think around the time Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver came out was around the time, which was probably in the sort of late 2000s, when people just that movement really started. The farm to table or the organic. Understanding, people wondering where their food came from, trying to sort of connect back with the land and kind of what was going on in their communities, and looking for meaning and connection to maybe more traditional foods that are grown there. I mean, you really can get anything anytime. But this is often where you're going to find really good fresh okra, as maybe not all over the country.
So one of the things that kind of popped up in the middle of you all doing this was the food truck movement. Mm-hmm. And it hit here in Knoxville when it started really growing across the country. It started here not long after it started being established more widely outside in the country. When did you all decide to allow that to be part of the farmers market? Or what was your thought process in that?
I guess, we never decided not to. It didn't come up because it wasn't something that people were doing. Right. We at first were so small that we all fit. I mean, at first all of our vendors were on the stage, and the city wouldn't let people drive onto the square. And so we had to have everyone unload and carry stuff. And that was kind of a bummer for a while. Right. It was pretty challenging. And then, they started to calm down a little bit. And so we are not allowed to have food trucks on Market Square proper. Okay. And so when we started closing Union and Market Street, we were more able to do that. And because we're in the middle of downtown and we have such a good relationship and want to maintain a good relationship with our neighbor businesses, and we want to be a symbiotic relationship, we really don't need to bring in restaurants that are doing or food trucks that are doing similar things to the restaurants there. Right. And we really want to have, we really wanted to grow the local food movement. And so we only allowed food trucks to come that would, sourced locally. And so one of our early food trucks was Savory and Sweet, and they were like, yeah, great, we'll work with local farmers to source our pork and our sweet potatoes, and great. And then Cruz Farm was one of the first ones too. They are a farm, making ice cream from their cows. And that's exactly what we are there for. So and to help farmers grow their businesses and creating those relationships. So it was a slow movement, and then a little after that is when the food truck scene really started growing, and this there were more regulations and whatever, and we just want to make sure that we're in compliance with anything that people are legally required to have.
And luckily the city has been very open to having more of that involvement in the city, like having the food trucks, having designated area, but also at the same time hearing the local restaurants who were worried about it being in competition.
Right.
But they seem to really broker that deal and make it work.
Yeah.
So when did you establish Nourish, and what is kind of the mantra or the thought process behind Nourish Knoxville?
So Nourish Knoxville was formed in 2013, and it was partially in response to, the Market Square Farmers Market was underneath a downtown promotion kind of organization. And so Market Square District Association merged with Center City Events, and they started, they did First Night for a while, and then started the Biscuit Festival. And those were great partners for a while, but the Market Square Farmers Market grew a ton, and the Biscuit Festival obviously did as well. And we were really wanting to respond to the other issues that our farmers were facing, and being able to tackle more things happening in the local food movement. I was on the Knox County Food Policy Council, and something that would come up a lot is that there just wasn't a nonprofit partner to go after some grants and work on some projects to deal with issues in our community. And so we thought that perhaps it was the time to create that nonprofit that would work beyond downtown Knoxville, but really work in our region to work on the food shed and issues our farmers and producers were facing, and just expand opportunities for people. So we started, we formed in 2013 and worked with Center City Events to, create those two, disillusion that partnership and both move on to do other things. And we, so our mission is really to build healthy communities through connections to local food by bringing through both on the producer side and the consumer side. So yeah, the first thing we did really as Nourish Knoxville was our East Tennessee Local Food Guide, which promotes farms, farmers markets, CSAs, and food businesses that use local food in a 28 county region.
Where are some places where people can find that guide?
So we have the PDF online.
Okay.
So you can look at it online anytime. It comes out in April of each year, and we distribute 30,000 copies through all 28 counties. If you're in Knoxville, Three Rivers always has them, and then we always have them at our markets and most markets in the region, and we distribute them through like the Knox County Health Department and other partner agencies. And
another aspect of Nourish Knox is your annual dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that come to fruition?
Our board, so we are a nonprofit, so we have a seven person board now, and Matt Gallagher, who's the owner at Amelia and Knox Mason, that's obviously his wheelhouse, and he really wanted to do a dinner, and we decided to do it in the winter, partly because it's a little easier for us, and we also were able to utilize some ingredients that maybe people wouldn't think of, or people don't think of local food in the winter. I mean, it is like the starving seasons or whatever, but it's been a really great event. We try to keep the price point somewhat reasonable, and it's one of our big fundraisers for the year.
So, outside of the farmers market, outside of running Nourish Knox, what are some of your favorite places to go to around town?
To eat?
No, just to do anything. Like, do you like to go visit the parks or the quarries or anything like that?
Yeah. So one reason I came back to Knoxville is it just seems so reasonable, which is boring to say, but I am so hot on an August Saturday after market, and I like the fact that we have a quarry 2 seconds from downtown that I can just go and get in is wonderful. And then, if I'm feeling a little more adventurous, I'll go out to the park or up to Rugby to go swim. And I love doing that in the summer. But more on the daily, I live in East Knoxville. I walk my dogs a lot. I'm really happy that there's a Greenway connector close by. And then, I've been going to a lot of stuff on UT campus at the Cox Auditorium, which I love. They have great speakers and performers and that are coming there. I can walk there from downtown, like We've done a little Balter happy hour, walk through World's Fair Park and climb a bunch of stairs, and you're there.
So what do you think about, because you've been here through a lot of changes through downtown and you've seen them firsthand and being there every Saturday. What do you think about all the changes? Like what are some of your thoughts on the changes that have happened around town?
I don't, as somebody who gets up rather early every Saturday morning, most of the time, I'm not someone that goes out on Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay.
And so when I do in the off season, I'm just like, who are all of these people? And it's so crowded. And so I don't go out a lot on the weekends, actually. I love seeing how much is happening downtown. And but I don't, I'm not doing that much. But there's just so many more places to be and things to do. And when we started out there was only like one restaurant that I would eat at, and now I genuinely don't feel like I eat out enough because I also run a market. I cook at home a lot, but I love Wild Love, so thrilled about it being there. Amelia, Knox Mason, Kaizen, Adopo. I just there's more places to go and do things and experience different kinds of foods and not get tired of it, which just wasn't the case when we started out.
And a lot of them echo your sentiment and shop locally for produce or beef or any of those products to be more sustainable to this region.
Yeah, and we're really lucky. I mean, that's something that is sort of the Blackberry effect. Chefs work at Blackberry.
That needs to be on a bumper sticker. The
Blackberry
Knoxville
effect.
the Blackberry effect.
Yeah, we're just really lucky that some folks work there for a while and maybe want to open their own places, and they've been working with local producers through Blackberry. Blackberry supports a lot of local farmers in the area, and so it's just really grown the local food movement.
So, what do you think the future holds for our city?
Oh, it's definitely growing. I mean, it's hard. I live in East Knoxville and in the Park Ridge neighborhood. And so, I'm both terrified and excited about what it could mean. There's literally 3 abandoned houses across the street from me, and that's not doing anybody any good. So I look forward to, bringing more life down Magnolia and then that neighborhood, while maintaining hopefully affordable housing and making it's just a wonderful walkable neighborhood with sidewalks and so close to downtown. I'm excited about it growing, just, not too much.
Within reason.
Right.
So where can folks find out more about Nourish Knox, the farmers market, the dinner, all of that? Is there one specific hub for all that?
Yes. Of course, we have a website, so nourishknoxville.org. Which talks about our farmers markets, our local food guide is there, events. We do promote local food events happening all over. So our events calendar usually has a ton of things going on. If you were looking for our dinners or other dinners or farm work days and farmer education events, we have those all on our website. And you can sign up for a monthly e-newsletter there as well.
Okay. And social media, where can they follow you on social media?
Everywhere. We're not on Snapchat, but we are Nourish Knox on Twitter and Pinterest, and Nourish Knoxville on Instagram or something like that. Look for Nourish Knoxville on Facebook. And then we also have separate accounts for the Market Square Farmers Market if you need to really deep dive into that part of the organization.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.